there can be sort of this confusion also as well, and things that'll happen. So, so this is like a very important cycle that we can understand kind of the snake in the room or what's happening right now. And so the good news is that this paranoia, the civil unrest, these challenges eventually will kind of shift into something else, basically. And and you could see it because looks like a whole part of the sky is totally off balance. Like it's almost like our solar system is off balance. All the planets are on one side of them. And that's how we can feel also as well in our own life, right? So I imagine that, I'm not saying things are going to get better because we have just seem to have one transit after the other. I mean, it's just happening. So not only do we have this called Serpa Yoga, but something really big happened. I believe it was on the 10th of December. It was Pluto moved into the sign of Capricorn. And Pluto takes 9 years to transit through in Capricorn. But what happened the last time Pluto was in the sign of Capricorn? It was 1776, and that was the Civil War, the time of Great Revolution, the Boston Tea Party, the birth of our country. And the country, listen to this, when they signed the Declaration of Independence, there's something that you can look at, which I've gone through your dasha periods and many other people's dasha periods. The United States, right at that moment, started an 18-year cycle of Rahu period, meaning that they were going to go through this upheaval, yet liberation, yet challenges. So we can actually learn from a lot of the lessons that happened in 1776 to understand what's happening right now. So every time Pluto moves into Capricorn, there's a revolution, basically. And we could look back in time to see the other revolutions that were created, right? So I don't want to dwell too much on that, but that's another huge event that's actually happening. And so this will be 9-year cycle that we're in. And it doesn't mean that I just want to clear something up. I'm not giving any doom and gloom for anybody or the situation. I'm actually saying that this is kind of amazing that all of this is happening, because it's like this spiritual surgery that we all need to do right now in some way, shape, or form in our life that's going to bring us into this powerful place of great clarity.
Wow.
Yeah. And so just to keep on going, because I want to keep on going forward, because I know we've probably been on this, sometimes I look at a clock and it's when I do readings and it's like, oh my God, we've been on this reading for 3 hours. So if you look up Kala Sarpa Yoga, like on the internet, for example, or you look up Rahu, this could create some fear because, a lot of astrologers in India, they want to sell stones or they want to do readings to talk about the karmas, So we have to be really careful about the media and what we're reading. It's limited, and that's such a fascination to think about. Rahu rules the second sign, which has to do with the mouth. Our communication is shadowed like an eclipse that shadows over. The alignment of eclipses are the sun, which is Atma, the moon, which is the mind, and the earth, which is the soul. So it's this perfect alignment of the sun, the mind, or the soul, the mind, and the body too as well. So as we're kind of doing this multitasking right now, I spoke about the importance of what's happening right now. Somebody said to me, like, hey, we took on questions, and I'm sure that there would be the explanations, but I don't have anybody calling me, asking me the questions about what's happening right now. But the answers are written in the sky, because as so above, so below, these things have happened before, and we can understand this. Saturn is the dominant planet this year and dominating more of 2021. Saturn is in the sign of Capricorn, and Capricorn in Vedic astrology, which is different than Western astrology. Capricorn is dominating, but it's in the sign of Capricorn, and we have a lot of planets that are visiting Saturn in his full power. And Saturn is like Shiva the Destroyer. Saturn holds the same energy as Shiva the Destroyer. Now, Saturn's the most dominating planet here, and also to the fact that we have this great alignment with Saturn and Jupiter. just a couple of weeks ago, and which some people were saying this marked the Aquarian age. And I think that's beautiful. I think that people should be optimistic,
right?
And to be more, to learn about more, something more beautiful than to learn about a horrible truth would actually profoundly make us perhaps whatever we think about the most is what we are, create a reality. And that's where we are in the world. And that's the whole key of what I wanted to talk about, is that we are in the reality of our own creation right now, is that whatever we think about the most is what we are. So if you're going to keep on reading the news and being in fear, we're never going to get out of this. We're never going to be afraid. And just blocking or cutting out that fear is the mantra that I tell all my clients to do when they're going through huge challenges. And I want everybody to practice this who is going through any challenges in their life. And instead of doing these sacred mantras with all these syllables, with these ancient Sanskrit words, which we may not even know what they mean, it's the words are bless this fear, bless the fear, bless the fear, bless the fear. Bless the fear. Wow. Bless the fear. And I swear, if you have some big fear coming up in your life, do this for 1 hour and have an alarm clock at the end so you don't cheat. And you will have no fear after an hour.
Amazing. Wow. I've never heard that. Bless this fear. Bless this fear. So you are doing alchemy. You are transmuting the gross into the sublime.
Yeah, and you'll actually stop that. But that's a lot about what we can do today, is that we have the template, and what we're allowing is not the ordinary people to speak, but people who are controlling it, who may not have an idea, like government people, agencies, the deep state, the New World Order, but we are the ones in charge. Okay, we're the ones, because we're the mass, we're the people. And that as soon as the whole coronavirus started, like 10 days later, Saturn moved into Capricorn. And it's almost like Saturn's going through the Saturn return for 6 years, basically. And so we've been in the cycle. I mean, everything just hit like clockwork. It's like, wow, Saturn goes into Capricorn. And the reason why that's important, because Saturn takes 27 years to go into Capricorn, because that's how long it takes to go around the zodiac. But when Saturn moves into Capricorn, Saturn's back at home. So it's almost like completed this full cycle, because Saturn owns Capricorn and Aquarius, right? So basically what it means in a nutshell is that the whole world is going through Saturn return. And you know what happened? The dark night. The whole world is in Saturn return, basically, according to the
This is so good.
And nobody's talked about this. And what is Saturn returns? You read about the dark night of the soul. And it's just because we completed the karma, and that's what Saturn's about. And, I got to say, I love Saturn. Like in Western astrology, it looks like Saturn is an old devil or fears Saturn.
I know. It was until I met you that I began to love Saturn. So anytime, like, oh my God, you have Saturn in your chart. I love Saturn. Saturn is my best friend. I keep saying it.
Yeah. Well, Saturn was given, here's something kind of funny in a way, but very true. Saturn's main job was given to him by Lord Shiva, was to be the ambassador of the gods.
Wow.
And to tell people to pay off their karma. So Saturn comes to pay off this old karmic and this old debts. And Saturn, when we look at a natal chart and we want to see what's going on with Saturn, we'll look at the placement of Rahu, right? We want to look at what's going on with Ketu, we'll look at the placement of Mars. So certain planets show us like where to go. So Saturn was given this job by Lord Shiva to be the ambassador of the gods. So basically to pay off these old karmas and these old karma's debts, right? As Saturn is the lord of karma, basically. And when Saturn moved into full power as well, because Saturn moved into his home in Capricorn, which it's about Dharma. Well, Dharma is really seen in Sagittarius, but Saturn left Sagittarius and moved into full strength of Saturn's main mission here is to kind of have us all pay back this karma, basically. And as soon as we can pay it back, then we can be more free, and we can kind of create our own bubble. And how do we do that? The main remedy for Saturn is acceptance, is to accept everything that comes to us. Oh, whatever. No, it's totally fine. But when we go back, I like to tell people watch the movie Groundhog Day, because that's like the energy of Saturn. Totally. Because it returns, and then Saturn, it's almost like, do we come back every day to relearn the lesson? Did we relearn the lesson to come back again? So Lord Shiva comes up to Saturn and says, okay, Saturn, I'm basically God, and I know that I was born in the cycle that I have to go through right now called Sarasati, but I'm going to go in a cave and hang out. And even though you assigned me this job to be the Lord or the ambassador, to basically tell the humans to pay off their karma, I'm not going to experience this at all. I'm going to be meditating in a cave. And Saturn looks at Shiva and says, you're still going to have to go through this, even if you are God. Yeah, that in these.
I don't want even to speak. I have so many notes.
Yeah. So I think this is the beauty of this period, is that this is a period of Shiva, and pull out, dust off your Nataraja, start to do more yoga, start to really raise your vibration here in order to get through this. But using affirmations to remove any fears, like bless the fear, bless the fear, bless the fear, Mrityunjaya mantra, buying frankincense, get an electric burner, be creative, and remedies for Rahu are to avoid the mass media influence, and actually not to get into escapism, because Rahu rules drugs and deception. So trying to avoid drugs, and numbing yourself, but practicing discipline, basically to be a spiritual warrior and follow the dharmic path. All of us.
Wow. It's a call to action.
And so what happens is later this year, Saturn moves into this part of the sky in Capricorn, but it's called the nakshatra Shravana. And Shravana means the ear. So this will be a time period that we're going to want to study higher knowledge. And so we can learn about what we do the best in our lives. And that's why I really think that, the reason why we're going through this time, the fastest way to get out is to go into esoteric wisdoms, to learn and to do spiritual discourse, and to leave the ego out of it,
Yes.
And that includes any judgment that has any, there's two things that we shouldn't do over the course of the next, well, I'd say forever, but never cuss anymore. Stop cussing. It's not worth it. But not only cussing, but stop certain things that may just not be good for us, that way we harm ourselves in the process, but we may not even know that we're actually doing it. Parvarparna is the expression that's used in Ayurvedic medicine as being crimes against wisdom, where we do these things that we know that are bad for us, yet we still do them. And so how are we going to reach the dharmic path? What's our dharma, our highest purpose in life? So when Saturn moves into Shravana, I really feel that this is going to be such a powerful opportunity this year to figure out our spiritual divine is who we are, who we came into this world. Get a Vedic reading, get do the remedies for Saturn, do good for people, feed the poor, give donations, organize yourself, humble, be restrained, and more than anything, treat everybody equal. That there is no better and no worse, Yes. And optimism, knowing always that optimism is our best friend too as well.
Wow, Peter, this is incredible. You really created a master class. We did 2 podcasts in one, because we are purposely going to put it in 2 episodes so people can digest implement
Yeah.
it, like take